All right, so the credit system in such a way that most people, when they get here, they get so excited, and that excitement creates a very big dent in your handling of credit. Now, number one, I will give you a few examples. Most people come here and then they tend to accumulate multiple credit cards. You'll find someone opening bank accounts, maybe two bank accounts or three, and then from each bank they want another a credit card from each bank account. And also, you'll find that there are multiple what you call credit bait companies. Now, credit bait companies or credit companies make money from that offer, credit offers. So they write to you and they want you to interest you with quite a number of credit offers. For instance, there is Coho, there is Capital One, there are those other like Triangle these days also is doing the same. Now, what happens is you'll find that oh, you just want the money, and most people tend to treat the credit as a source of an income, and not knowing that this money is actually money that you owe, and you meant to pay it back. And for that reason, you find people having up to 4, 5, 6 cards. Now, time to pay back becomes a problem. Remember, the credit works in such a way that you must have each credit card has a credit limit. Now, if you spend beyond the threshold of the credit limit, it becomes a very big problem for you to catch up with the payments. For instance, if your credit maximum is let's say 1,000, and then you spent $800 out of that credit, you already passed the threshold, past the credit limit, and you find yourself struggling now to catch up or to bring it beyond at least above 50%. So you imagine now you have more than 5 credit cards that has all the credit limits are like $1,000, which means you have $5,000 that is owing. So you must avoid multiple credit cards at all costs, because at least you can build your credit even by using one card, or you can just use one specific bank that can offer you a good rate, and that credit keeps building up and they can keep adding up or increasing your credit limits. And another thing is that when people tend to fail to pay these credit cards, they start to have multiple inquiries into their credit systems, in credit records. And say, assuming that you're going to buy a car, they will always want to check your credit background. So every time someone does those are called hard inquiries. Every time somebody inquires about your credit records, they are literally poking into your credit score. And every time they poke into your credit score, your credits drop. Your credit scores drop drastically. And for that reason, you need to avoid multiple hard inquiries into your credit scores. And you can always use platforms like Borrowell, or CIBC is one of the best platforms for me that I'm not advertising for CIBC here, but I believe that their mobile platform, which is CIBC.ca, I think, provides you, if you have an account with CIBC, it will give you a platform where you can be able to monitor your credit grow, and you can be able to see what is affecting your credit scores and the accounts that are opened on that line. Now, talking of that, if you have a credit account, you'll have every credit account, it's independent, and it is reported to TransUnion. And that's how your credit scores accumulate or decrease. Now, if you want to understand it better, take, for instance, you own a car, you have an insurance cover, or you have a loan from the bank, or a line of credit, or you have a loan from the OSA, people that have OSA. So those will be all under as treated as credit accounts. So every time you lag behind with one credit account, it affects the rest of the credit account. So which means you must be paying up your money religiously. So most people, when they get here into this country and they are settling as newcomers, they tend not to want to pay back the monies that they owe, and that affects them very drastically. And there are those that actually they go purchase, they go get certain products on credit and disappear, thinking that they are running away from paying the money back, Or sometimes people tend to get these multiple credit cards and then they accumulate multiple credits on them or get money from them, and then they end up disappearing or closing, trying to want to close that account, not knowing that they have already captured it, because this is money you owe and it will still be in your record, so they will punch it into your credit record. Number two, I would be able to talk about not filing your income taxes. Now, you know very well that February, March and April of every year is actually income tax filing for individuals. So personal tax is very key for most people. When they get here and maybe they are in the system, in the government system, they tend not to want to file taxes. So even if you are new to Canada and you are in, let's say, ODSP, or you are on Ontario Works, or you're getting any form of benefit from the government and you're not working, it is important for you to file that tax. Why? Because it helps the government to be able to know what your income for the year has been looking like. And if you do not do that, and sometimes some people tend to be working, but at the same time they are, let's say, earning a government benefit. Now they tend not to want to subscribe or pay up or file that income tax with fear that they are going to lose the benefit from the government. Now this is the trickiest part. Time will come, you can run away from the system, but you cannot hide from the system. Time will come when your SIN number will start to reflect the income you've been earning, and you'll see CRA writing to you demanding maybe an assessment of 5 years of your income, and then you'll be surprised to see that they're demanding you over $25,000. There are people who have filed bankruptcy because of this negligence, and at all cost and at most, try as much as possible to file your income tax, even if it is lower than 30,000. File it, because it gives also the government acknowledgement of your economic value into the country. Because remember, as we come here, we become more or less like economic immigrants. So as an economic immigrant, if you are not an asset to the economy, then you're irrelevant. So even when your immigration situation change, or your immigration situations get into a limping ground, it can be a ground for you to be able to say, look, I am paying my taxes, I pay my taxes religiously. So people tend to forget about that, and they make a lot of errors. That's a mistake, not to pay your taxes. And I know very well that some of us, we migrate from situations and places where taxes is not our thing. But here, if you want to access services, of course, your taxes, the taxes that you pay to the government is one of the major sources of income for the government itself. So for that reason, you need to be able to at least file your taxes. And this filing of taxes actually helps you in many ways. For those of you that maybe have businesses, there is what you call the sole proprietor. So if you open up a sole proprietor business, it will help you actually to write off some taxes. Some expenses. For instance, if you are using your home, and if you're using your car, if you're using some of your properties at home as just as a sole proprietor, because the sole proprietor is you, and you're the owner of the business, you're the employee, you're the first employee, you are also the what? You're also the owner. So meaning that when you're writing off your expenses, you'll be able to utilize the rent of your house to become the rent of your business. A car, you'll be split into two. Any form of bills that is in the house, you can also split that into two, and it helps you a lot to get a government benefit back. Like what we call the return, the tax return. So most people benefit from tax return. So if you don't file your income tax and you're below a particular average, then you qualify to receive a tax return. But how will you qualify for a tax return if you are not filing your personal income tax? Now, for those that file their income taxes, sometimes there is also GST, HST. So you may be eligible to receiving HST, GST tax rebate or refund, whereby they are going to send it to you, and you can't get or benefit from that if you're not filing your taxes. Now, number 3 would be looking at from where I talked about credit. Now, there are people that tend to take a lot of large large quantities or large debits. You know, like when you're new to the country, you've hardly, there are priorities that you make to yourself. Like for instance, your priority will be getting your papers straightened up, and then settling, getting your accommodation straightened up, getting yourself a permanent job, for instance, as well, and then you start life. However, you find someone has not yet got a permanent job, you've not yet settled with maybe immigration as well, and you are in a phase where you're settling, you're just starting your first steps of settlement, but you want to own properties that are really of large credit. For instance, you go into a bank or you go into these money lending companies and then pick up a loan, a cash loan, a payday loan, or a cash money, easy finance, because those monies are very easy to get, but paying it back is very difficult, extremely hard. So those are some of the reasons why most people are in this country, and then you can end up working a check after check after check, and you find yourself just being a slave to the credit, or to the finances that keeps you going every day. And some people tend to go in for cars too soon. So you end up going to pick up a car simply because you've seen someone is driving a car that is of your dream. So because now you are in this country, you want to drive a Range Rover Vela, but yet a Range Rover Vela may cost you between $80,000 to $100,000. Now you go pick up that car because you know you will now pay, at least you'll be paying about $2,000 a month for you to be able to sustain that car. You have insurance on it. You have the insurance of that car will not be less than $700. And then you have gas on it, and then you have other bills to take care of. So imagine you'll be spending almost $2,500 on a car, just a car alone. Now leave alone that you'll have people that actually do unnecessary purchases. You find the entire bedroom and from the entire house is on credit, right from the doorway. Somebody has a TV that is on credit, that they picked a very large Hisense of 80-inch screen because they want to live large. They have a couch, and the entire furniture in the room, in the living room, is all on credit, and the bed and everything that is in the house is actually on credit. Now what that means, you'll have a very serious burden of payments. So when you start struggling to pay some of those debts back, you'll have situations where now your credit scores will be dropping every single day. And by the time it drops, you'll not be able to borrow anymore. You'll have situations where people will not be able to actually even bother to listen to you or listen to your any of your ambitions, because one, even someone that you're going to find as these days, I was told that girlfriends and women have also started asking for credit scores, because your credit score actually matters a lot in a relationship, because someone who cannot pay their debts is a problem in a relationship, is a liability in a relationship. So you need to we need to make sure that we take note of that. Now when it comes to some of these payday or cash loans, that you need to avoid those ones at all times, because number one, if you look at the terms of loan, the terms of the loan recovery, it is very, very harsh. You may be in a problem, or because you just want to pay rent and you want to go to cash money to get a loan to pay rent. Now what about the next month? Where are you going to get it from? Because you have cash money, easy financing, Firestone, those are all very seriously very dangerous. They work like money lenders. So they give you a loan at a 49 or 39.9%. So that is 40% interest. So as you're paying that loan, that kind of loan has made people to file bankruptcy. They have made people to file for consumer proposals, and that kind of loan is too dangerous, because when you're paying that loan, however much you're paying, you're actually financing the interest. Just like any loan in this country, most times when you're paying the loan, you're financing the interest, because the interest accumulates on the balance. The more you have as balance of your loan, the more interest you're going to be paying. And so which means you will be paying thinking that you're clearing the premium or clearing the principal, But in actual sense, when they give you a statement of that loan, you'll be surprised to see that you have been financing strictly and purely the interest on that loan. So you just need to avoid that. Number 4 would be, in my opinion, is black tax. Now, black tax of course is when we trust our families. Of course, we have to support our families. When you came here as a newcomer, you've left a lot of debt. For example, you've left maybe a family home, you've left your mom, your father, your relatives. But time comes when you start working and start showing them that you can support them or provide them for them. You start realizing that they start becoming entitled. Entitlement now becomes a problem where people now like it becomes mandatory for you to give them something, and every time you have a payment, you have to think of paying them. As the day you get your money from the bank or you get your paycheck is the day that you receive a call from your uncle that your uncle now has been knocked by a cow. So at the same time, you'll get to the point that you are not even failed to send it back home because you feel obligated. And the entitlement that they have is that you become a bad person if you don't do so. So you need to make sure that you take care of yourself first before you even take care of others, because your being here, your health is your wealth here. But most importantly, if you're not living a better life or a well-to-do life, at least, which you can be able to be proud of, which means your mind and your brain is the one that is going to take toll. Because when you start undergoing stress and depression and stress that comes with money is one of the biggest stressors in this country. So when you have demands coming from all angles, imagine yourself in a house, a one-bedroom house, you have bills of house rent to pay, you have gas, you have electricity, you have water, you have food to take care of, you have insurance of your car, you have the car payment on your neck, you have fuel to take care of, you have a lot of all that going on you. Then you have to meet the demands of your family back in Africa as well. So imagine what that will take in your life. Because remember, if your income is, let's say, 6,000 a month, which means your expense for a month shouldn't exceed at least 4,000. Other than that, you'll hardly have anything to go by. So you'll be working year in, year out without even going for holidays, or even because the people that you send this money, they call it black tax because this is now like a mandatory kind of thing from our relatives because they are entitled to receive so. But the moment you send your sister that money that they have been asking for, then the following day you're going to see her with a very nice wig and nice hairstyle. But for you, who is actually working, you've never changed your hair for the past few many years. You've spent one full year with one wig, and you hardly even change your clothing. You hardly even have what to go by. You don't even go out. But those that you send money to, they are in bars, they are in clubs, they are enjoying their lives in full gear. But for you yourself, when you try to drink beer with your friends, actually you're holding beer with your two hands, because the factory or the job that you do is so hard. Construction work has completely killed your hands, are so hard. And you go home when I was surprised and shocked when I went to Africa recently, and I was shocked that those guys look good. Those guys are mugged. Those guys' skin is good. They're living a good life. Those that you left in your village when they are really not so well off, when you spend 4 or 5 years here, you go home and you find they are really doing extremely well. So there is no one time that those guys are going to sleep hungry and say that, oh, you know what, because you did not send us money. But the most important thing is to take care of yourself. Now, one that I will maybe conclude with is the failing, what I would call falling for scams. Now, most people tend to think that there is no scam here in this country, but there is a very big scam here. Now, if you don't stand for yourself, you'll fall into the arms of fake landlords. You'll fall into hands of fake contracts. You'll bank bank situations. You'll have at least, and most people have lost money in cryptocurrencies. People have lost money in Ponzi schemes. People have lost money in the so-called investments, and so on and so forth. So you'll accumulate your hard-earned $25,000 in this country, and then someone comes and tells you that let us invest it in cryptocurrency. Investing in cryptocurrency is a good thing, but you must be aware that there are scams. People have lost lots of chunks of money in this country in that kind of way, in a form of investing, because no one doesn't want to invest. At least if you invest your money, you'll be able to receive more money. But in an instance where you're going to be scammed, you must be aware that there's really, really very, very hardcore scammers in these countries and fraudsters. And maybe last but not least, I will be able to touch on is a mistake. When all that is said and done, you've made all the financial mistakes. Now you're looking for the best way forward. Most financial advisors will say, oh, you know what, you file for consumer proposal. My dear, my sister, my brother. Yes, consumer proposal is like when the loans and the finances are strangling you left, right, and center, and it is on your neck. But it is one thing that I would not recommend to anyone. However, when things fall apart, of course, you will have to look for all drastic means. The consumer proposal, sometimes I was told about how it can help you, and then it makes you relieve yourself from the pain of all the stresses of the finances. However, it has a 5-year mark that it leaves on your credit, on your financial situation as well, without recovering from it. Because those that are selling to you the idea of the consumer proposal also want to take from you. The good thing about this country is that everyone, you either take from someone or someone takes from you. And in either way, you have to be smarter to make sure that you are not the one being taken from. So someone will always convince you to do a consumer proposition, but well knowing the effects, the negative effects that comes with the consumer proposition. And worst of it all, of course, if the consumer proposition is even is little, but the bankruptcy now is even bigger. Because remember, bankruptcy, it limits a lot of situations. Even when your employer gets to know that you filed for bankruptcy, they start distancing themselves from you. So you need to avoid such terms as bankruptcy as much as possible, even if the loans and the finances are straining you. You would rather do a consumer proposal than the bankruptcy, because bankruptcy is now for people who might have, maybe you are in debt of, let's say, $1 million. Yeah, that one is understandable. But by the time you have $1 million of financial situation, that is understandable. But with a consumer proposition where you're struggling with, let's say, $10,000 kind of financial situation that is playing around and scattered around, I would not recommend you to do even a consumer proposition. You will just reorganize yourself, walk into a bank. Most newcomers that come to Canada fail and feel scared to meet professionals. You need to speak to the right people, because most people get their information from the wrong people, from the wrong advisors, people that think that they've been here for so long, so they have the right to advise you. But whatever that they give you is actually pili-pili in your finances. And for that matter, just walk into the bank, ask whoever is to seek to talk to, let's say, a credit advisor or account specialist, whoever in that line of where you want to understand, so that they can be able to help you streamline your income. They can create for you a TFSA account that can be able to accumulate money, a savings for every month, or they can create for you something that is of a bi-weekly basis based on how you receive money, and then create for you a budget line, how to be able to sort out the loans that you have. There is something that I did for myself, which I can share here at the end of this conversation, that I one time had to renegotiate almost every loan or everything that I was being owed. including my student loan. I had to just call the government of Ontario and told them, look, I'm not able to pay the much that I'm being demanded. So I reduced my student loan payment from about to 150 something to just $66 that I pay even up to date. So I pay just simply $66 per month. It's the same thing that you can negotiate. Never ever go to buy a car when you think that you are alone. At least go in with someone that understands bargaining and interest rates of cars. People go to buy cars without understanding how much is the interest rate. Someone told me that they bought a car and their interest rates was actually standing at 15%. Now that is a ripoff. So you can't do those things. So you need to make sure that you do everything that requires to take from you for a very long time, because some of these loans are for long-term loans. If you're taking a car, it will be standing in your name for over 7 years or 6 years or 5 years. Now that's a lot of time that you'll be financing a loan. And also, if you have a mortgage will sit on your name for over 35 years. So which means something that you're going to commit to for 35 years, you can spend at least 1 hour at least consulting about it before you go into it. So for that reason, I would think that if all newcomers learned certain few of some of the things that we are talking about, before you do them, you will not regret, because some of us actually regret doing certain things along the way, but not because we didn't know, but nobody told us. No one told us certain things that we should have known at the beginning. And I feel that platforms like this, when I come out to speak about certain things like this, I see a lot of comments and I see a lot of talk coming through about it. And I'm glad to have this conversation here on YouTube. And I want you to try to help us promote this. Like the video, comment and share your experiences, but also subscribe to the channel so that this channel can grow. And I want to see you next time when I'm healthy, when you're healthy, and we are all happy. Thank you very much, and ciao.